All right, ladies, gentlemen, welcome to the Week 8 wrap up. Brought to you in part by CarooTube in association with Movember. I decided to give you guys the weekly wrap up this week in live and in person as opposed to in write up form for the sole reason that it's much easier to talk than it is to write 1,000 words. So here it is. First of all, unibrow. Uh, where to start? I guess I need to start with Brandon. Be Randy Bodandy Gandy man. For the 8th straight week, Brandon won for the 6th time out of 8 weeks. 7th time out of 8 weeks, sorry. Brandon has won the GMC trophy, the very gay, the very lame GMC trophy. This weekend, it was the dynamic duo of Tommy and Carew that were fed the loss. Sorry, fellas. I know the feeling. It doesn't feel good. This week, Brandon won by 2.5 points. And has managed to stay undefeated. With that said, got to give props when props are deserved. Brandon, big ups to you. You're about one win away. If you're not already clinched a playoff spot, congratulations. I think if you win one more, it's pretty much set in stone. So congrats to you, sir. Fine season. As far as reports from your team this weekend, Frank Gore was amazing. For the fourth straight week, he's gone up over 20 points, which is fantastic. He ran for 134 yards this week, had a score, touched the ball 31 times. You can't ask for much better production out of your number one running back, so congratulations. The rest of your team were mediocre at best, which seems to be the growing trend for your team for the majority of the season. But again, got to give props when props are deserved. Hats off to you, sir. Best of luck, I guess, the rest of the way. Carew, Tommy, you needed a big night. You made it really close. You had some big names going last night. Didn't look good in the first quarter. Didn't look great in the second quarter. I called it a night at halftime. Woke up this morning. Your boys started putting up points. They started scoring a bit. But alas, you came up 2.5 points short. Better luck next week. AJ Green for you guys continues to be, one of your better players. Hakeem Nicks is a bit banged up, but AJ Green has been a pleasant surprise for you guys. Rookie wide receiver on a Cincinnati Bengals team. He's right up there with some of the top tier wide receivers this year in terms of points scored. So good job, you guys. I don't know what you're going to do though. Tom Brady, Tim Tebow did not look so good this weekend. Your backup quarterbacks, Matt Hasselbeck. I'm sure you guys have something up those sleeves, but that's left to be seen. Congratulations, Brandon. Next up, the Dogs versus the Popo. No Aaron Rodgers, no problems for the Dogs. When you've got Fred Jackson, and you've got Fred Jackson playing like the NFL's best running back, as I said last week. Who's to stop you from getting a fantasy football win? This week, F-Jack scored 22.5 points, his 5th time this year going above 20. He had 120 yards on a score. He caught 3 balls for 74 yards. The guy's, he is the best running back in the NFL right now. He's an every down back, goal line back. He's doing it all. Hopefully he can keep it going. Mario Manningham got into the mix. Your linebacker last night was an animal. 19.5 points, 13 tackles, 1 sack, 1 INT. You got to like that from your starting DP. All of your players scored in double digits this week except for 2, Colson and Gaffney. Anytime that you get that much production across the entire board, you're in for a good week. So congrats to you. You're 6-2, I do believe. First place in your division. Well played. The Puddin', the Popo, Michael Vick continues to be Michael Vick. You can keep him in there. He's going to get points. Steve Smith continues to surprise the shit out of a lot of people. I don't even know if it should be considered a surprise anymore. I guess he was just waiting for a quarterback a la Cam Newton to come throw him the ball. But he scored 22.5 points this week, 7 catches, 100 yards, a score, very good. Sidney Rice, Brandon Lloyd got into the mix, but again, the shot to the heart for your team is obviously your running back situation. D'Angelo Williams, Thomas Jones combined for a total of 5 points. That ain't gonna cut it. You need to get more. You need to get more from your running backs to at least compete. And again, 5 points between two players at the running back position is smelly. Pepe Le Pew smelly. Unibrow. Next up, the Screaming Dartmouthians, the Whispering Dartmouthians. First, before I continue, Andrew, give it up with the name changes that reflect the teams you're playing. It's gay. You're gay. Give it up. Stick with the team name. It's annoying to have to keep up with all of your stupid name changes. Arian Foster was a beast this week again. Since he's come back from that injury earlier in the season, he's been amazing. Good job. Maud Bradshaw, Larry Fitzgerald were okay. But, you know, the thorn in your side this past weekend had to have been the fact that Welker, Djax, and Witten combined for a measly 14.5 points. You know, you have to lean on those guys every week for wins, for production. And when those three don't get involved and don't give you something, or at least one or two of them don't give you something, you know, it's going to be tough sledding. Andrew, like Brandy, props. You started off slow, and you since turned it on. You know, what more can I say about Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson? Arguably the most dangerous 1-2 punch in the NFL, and you've got them both rostered on your team. It's one of those situations when you have the two of them, you love it, and you lucked in that week for sure, or this year for sure. This past week, the two of them combined for 51 points. Amazing. When those two guys can put those kind of numbers up, you know you're going to be competing that week. And again, it always seems like they start semi-slow and then turn it on, which is weird. Obviously, Chris Johnson for you has to be the biggest bust in the NFL fantasy-wise this year. Held under 10 points again this past weekend. That's his 5th time this year. You know, something's got to give. It seems like we're all waiting around for him to break out, and it has not happened yet. He used to be so fun to watch, but he just doesn't seem to be getting through the holes. He doesn't seem to be getting in the open field making plays like he used to be so good at. So hopefully for you, you can turn it around. It's hard to sit him, but you know, we'll see what you do in the future. With Ryan Matthews dinged up now, I mean, you're even strapped, you're shackled even more. So good luck to you, but congrats again on getting to 500. You're right in the mix for the wild card, so best of luck, sir. Next up, where am I? Dunsky. Tim Smegma, 2 scoops. Dan Gashu, props to you. 5 wins. First time in 5 years. The proverbial monkey is off your scrawny back. Well played, sir. Now your goal should be to not blow it. You know, you and I are deadlocked in our division. We're right at the top of the standings for the wild card. Owen and Andrew aren't too far behind. Neither is Tim. You know, a lot could happen between now and the end of the season, so good luck to you, sir. This past weekend, gotta love Ray Rice, obviously, 30.5 points, 3 touchdowns, 63 yards, amazing. Mendenhall was okay, not fantastic. Drew Brees was not fantastic in the first half, turned it on in the second half, which helped you. But again, you got to give it up for Ray Rice this week. He single-handedly, for the most part, delivered you your win, your 5th, your record-breaking 5th. So well played, sir. Tim, you were without Michael Turner, you were without LeGarrette Blount, and it showed. You had Marshawn Lynch and Philip Tanner as your 2 starting running backs. You totaled 7 points out of those 2 this past weekend. Your wide receivers, Nate Washington, Antonio Brown, Eric Decker, did everything they could. They scored 50 of your total 88.5 points. So again, you gotta hope that Michael Turner, LeGarrette Blount come back this weekend and help that offense for yours get going. Tom Brady now should help you going forward. He hasn't been amazing the last bit. In fact, if you look at his numbers, he was amazing, obviously, the first 3 games. And since then has increasingly got worse and worse in terms of fantasy points. But again, he's Tom Brady. You have to assume that he's going to go out there and get you 20-plus points every weekend. So with that roster, if your wide receivers continue to produce, you could be making a little noise as well. So best of luck, sir. But again, Dan came out on top. 2 more matchups to talk about. The first, I guess I'll talk about the high rollers and the Yankees. LeSean McCoy. If Fred Jackson's not the best running back in the NFL, LeSean McCoy is. He too has scored 20-plus points in all but 2 games this season. This past weekend, he went for 185 yards, 2 scores, 34 fantasy points. Absolutely amazing. I also think the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to lose a game the rest of the year. I think they're going to turn it on quite nicely. Big Ben was amazing for you this weekend, 23 points. He threw for 365 yards, 2 touchdowns. Anquan Boldin got in on the mix, which was good to see for you. And obviously, DeQuell Jackson, linebacker, 20 points. No one can ever argue with getting that kind of points out of your defensive player. Well played. Kevin, AP is your lone star this past week. He had 162 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, a receiving and a running one, unibrow. But other than that, you had 3 players put up goose eggs, which is never good. You almost started an active tight ends. 2 words come to mind: shape up. You got to be paying attention. Got to get involved. But best of luck to you. Hopefully, Darren McFadden can come back this weekend for you. And hopefully Phil Rivers can turn it around. You need wide receiver help as well, just saying. The last matchup, McLovin versus the OJ. Nightmare versus the Cons. Sean wanted me to talk about last week how he was going to dominate me. And I fed him the OJ Simpson this weekend at the hands of a quarter pounder with cheese meal at McDonald's that I'll get in the near future. S-Jax was potent for me, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, 36 points. Beanie was pretty good, all things considered, for the injury that they say he had. Hopefully it doesn't last too long, although they say it's going to be lingering all season. Romo continues to be consistently consistent like our golf games. And obviously when you get 32.5 points between your defensive players, in my case, Navarro Bowman and Eric Weddle, good things will come. Pat on the back for the Nightmare. Sean, the sledding gets tough every week for you. You had 2 goose eggs this week, Law Firm and Alfonso Smith. Cam Newton, again, like I said earlier, Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Waiver ad of the year in our league this year for sure. He's ranked 2nd amongst quarterbacks in our league in terms of fantasy points. He's scored 20-plus points in all but 2 games this year. He's been absolutely amazing. So, praise, props deserved there. Way to go getting him. Victor Cruz played well for you this weekend, probably because of the Hakeem Nicks injury, but his stock seems to be trending upwards, so hopefully that helps. You had only 1, maybe 2 guys. I think you may have drafted Brandon Pettigrew earlier in the year. And then dropped him and got him back. But again, you had all waiver ads this week in your starting lineup. No one from the original Cons early in the season was in that lineup. So obviously, the sledding has been tough for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to go into it. Best of luck. Play spoiler for the rest of the year. That, my friends, was the wrap-up. I'm getting close to my time. I've got about 15 seconds left. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you think I should be writing it or if you prefer the video version. It's easier for me on the video version, but again, I'll leave it up to you guys. If you haven't partaken Movember, get involved, pay up. Love you, miss you. We'll see you next week. Peace.